a united mass movement against capitalism and institutional racism. Fred, I think, also was a powerful, as many will document today on the 50th anniversary of his assassination, one of the most astute orators that our movement has ever produced, who can speak to various groups, in fact, who can, in fact, go to Canada and speak to Canadians on the conditions of the working class and poor, and particularly that of black workers and youth in the United States, who can go into the urban centers of this nation and speak to the youth, street gangs, college students, and with a level of clarity and very a mind that certainly he read. There was no doubt about that, but also he had a very astute understanding, I think, of consciousness and the contradictions of consciousness, but also how consciousness can radically move in a certain direction based on events on one side, but also how those events are articulated and how those events are explained to people. And I think that's one of his great contributions as well as one of the great orators that we produce at the age of 21. His understanding of theory and practice, that is not enough to have the book learning, but also it's important to have the practice to, in fact, uh, either vindicate your set of ideas, set of your program points, your demands, and bring it to the community itself, bring it to the class, and let them decide if they approve of it or disapprove of it. And I think Fred understand that, particularly when we think of the survival programs that the Panthers had developed, and that the state understood that we had to dismantle that in order to break the unity, to break the connection between the Black Panther Party for self-defense and that of the community itself that sorely needed the resources in order to survive in the society. And of course, I'm thinking about the free breakfast program, clothing program, health care, all the key questions that the state was denying and giving resources to. And so I think Fred understood that it's not enough to theorize, but in fact to put that theory into practice. And in fact, your practice had to be concretized with theory and understanding the dialectical character of those two processes. Um, Fred's profound contribution, I think, cannot be understated. He was a very important figure in our movement, in our struggle. A whole generation, including myself, was inspired by him, uh, but of the entire generation that were living in revolutionary times. And in fact, if we look at our situation today in 2019, as we embark on 2020, only a few weeks away from 2020, that the conditions of the working class, the poor, and the most oppressed, not just in the United States but globally, um, has become unbearable. What we're seeing in a number of countries throughout the world, that people are declaring enough is enough. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that is a very, I think, important feature of what amplified that struggle 50 years ago and what is amplifying the struggle today, in fact. And it's going to take many features and many forms, certainly. But I think they would draw inspiration, they would draw confidence from Fred Hampton. So with that, I say rest in power, you mighty lion, Fred Hampton. Peace.